Hey, so we are back. Sorry if you were with us shortly before a few minutes ago. We had some technical difficulties, but of course, whenever it's gonna be real good, you already know what's gotta happen. Everything's got to explode. But we are back and we are here. Welcome back to TWA Talk. I'm so excited to talk about what we're gonna talk about today. I know that you guys have probably missed us, from we tried to establish a bi-weekly cadence, but we had to reduce it this week because your girl been on the run. But I'm slowing down now, and I definitely felt like today could not go by without us bringing TWA Talk back online. And I brought a very, very special guest. She's special to me, would forever be special to me because she was literally the first person I met at Hand in Hand. She was or is the mother of Sweet Taylin, Mason, and Christian. This is Tiara Bozman, everybody. So Tiara is again a mom of three. Like I said, she is the first mom that I met at Hand in Hand when we first got to go back into the building. Do you remember that day we were in what was the name of the classroom? Sunshine. We were in Sunshine classroom. Oh no, it was Morning Glory.
Morning Glory, and then they moved us.
Yeah, we were in Morning Glory, and it was at that point that was our third daycare that we had gone to, and so COVID had hit, and so everything was shut down. So of course we had no exposure to any other parents, and then when they finally opened the doors to where we could pick the kids up again, Tiara stopped me in the hallway and said, "Are you Harper's mom?" And because Christian comes home and talks about Harper every day, and I'll never forget that day because I was like, "Oh, I am somebody's mom." Like I now referred to as Harper's mom, and to hear that the kids go home and talk about Harper, that was the first time for me. I never thought about that because Harper can't communicate verbally, so I didn't get that same thing. And I don't even know who Christian is, but yeah, I am her mama, and I'm so glad that it's the kids that a lot of times bring us together because they're telling you about their day and they're telling you about their friend. And I think that connection that you made for me was that you said that Harper reminds Christian of Taylin because Taylin also has cerebral palsy, and she's also nonverbal, and she is in a wheelchair and has cerebral palsy, so he's familiar with that. So when he saw Harper, she was just another little girl. It reminded him of what he is used to. So like I always say, siblings of children with disabilities, they are just already 1,000 times ahead of humanity. They're automatically going to be different, more compassionate, more caring, more loving. And Christian brought that to Harper. And so to my knowledge, Christian was Harper's first friend. And as they matriculated through Hand in Hand, he was her protector. And then turned to her lover boy, bringing her roses to class, to school for Valentine's Day, talking about her, called her and checked on her while she was in the hospital. So, it's stuff like that that just can never be replaced. And so when it was time to go to kindergarten, I think we all were like in tears.
And I hope you don't forget about it. He still talks about her. I need to talk. Can you talk about his mom?
Yeah, I'm so glad about that though, because then like you saw how she lit up when she saw him. Like it's just, I think all the kids in Hand in Hand would probably do the same thing if they were to see each other. I ran into Vivian's mom a couple of weeks ago, and she's like, "I can't wait to tell Vivian that I saw Harper's mom." And it's just so crazy that we all have that experience. I think there was something special about those of us who kind of went through Hand in Hand around that same time. Because we were searching for each other and we wanted to know each other. I can't speak for the parents today. I'm sure it's probably the same, but for me and my experience, I definitely feel like the parents were completely different because we wanted to know each other. We wanted to keep the kids together. We knew that what those kids were getting at Hand in Hand was completely different than what they'll ever get in life. And I think that we all, as a culture or community of the United Ability Organization, made sure we protected that. And then we left there trying to figure out how we're going to create that again in our individual communities or where, the walks of life that we're going to go on. So again, Tiara is like family at this point. She done been on my mama's house. She has been everywhere with us. So pretty soon she'll be a Reeves, and I have a friend Aaron. She'll be mad that I said that. But whatever. Move over, Aaron. You got some more people coming in. So yeah, again, today we're really going to talk about cerebral palsy from the aspect or the perspective that cerebral palsy is not the same for everybody, even though we have a lot of similarities and we do a lot of things that are the same, it still looks completely different. I think that's really important for us to show to people because again, media shows you the most extreme cases. Mm-hmm. Even when, unfortunately, you go online and you see the foundation, they're doing the same thing. They're showing you cerebral palsy in the most severe light. And it's shocking to people, especially like me, when I learned about cerebral palsy and my daughter having cerebral palsy. I was like, there's no way because I've seen it before. And it looks nothing like what we have in our house. Yeah. And so I think that is really important for us to shine a light on it. But that does not take away from the fact that our walks are, completely different. And kind of hard. So I'm excited to talk about cerebral palsy, and let's just kind of take a dive in. What you think? Okay. My friend of few words, I think I'll make up for everything. So. I'm nervous. Oh, don't get nervous. We don't even know who's looking at us. So it don't matter. So, okay, we're going to dive right in and just kind of start talking about our personal journey, like what it was like when you first got the diagnosis. So, can you share with us and with the people what your experience was like? Because I know by now everybody has heard my story. I went on every platform I can to share what it was like for me, but I would love for them to hear what it was like for you, what your experience was like, and then up to the point that you got the diagnosis, and then like some of the emotions that you felt.
So Taylor was always, I've been making my twins. She was always behind amazing. But I just put it because, she had the brain bleed. She was in the hospital for so long. She stayed in the NICU for so long. She was hooked up to the machines and everything for so long. She just needed time to catch up. But she never caught up. Like, Mason was sitting up, Taylor wasn't sitting up. Mason was rolling over, Taylor was just laying it. Mm-hmm. Like, it just...
How long was she in the NICU?
I had them August the 30th. I think Taylor came home in December. I want to say it was December 6th.
Okay. And did they ever tell you what caused her brain bleed? Like, I know that a lot of moms out there, even moms who have, let's say, typically developing children, sometimes it's just a little bit harder to like give birth to twins, and the experience is a little bit different. So, can you tell a little bit about, like what was the birthing experience, or what happened that caused the brain bleed?
So I actually had them prematurely. They kept me in the hospital, and I think I was only there for like a couple hours, and they were like, "No, we're coming now." I had them at 27.5. I had to have an emergency C-section because Taylor was still breached. Mason was head down, but Taylor was still breached. And I'm not sure if it was just, how early they were or what, but she had, I want to say it's a grade, is it grade or what? Grade 4 on one side and grade 3 on the other, and the fluid never drained like it was supposed to. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of like sat there under her brain. They ended up having to go in and put a tube in. She had to shunt. Mm-hmm.
So what's grade?
So usually, so I am not the medical expert, but I do know like that's essentially how the grade,
like how bad it is.
Yeah,
I think grade 4 is the worst. Okay. So grade 4 then 3.
Okay. And how old was she when they put the shunt in?
Oh, she was a couple months. She got her first shunt in October.
Okay. While she was still in NICU.
Yep. They transferred her. I had them at Brookwood. They transferred her from Brookwood to Children's. She got her first shunt in October, and it had to be revised in, I want to say November. She came home December. And we were back at Churches in January because it was infected. So she had to stay and get it taken out and revised again. So before she turned 3, I want to say she had 6 or 7 surgeries.
Okay. I know there was another kid at Hand in Hand who also, so like the order that she's talking about on Taylor's brain is called hydrocephaly. And ultimately, like with hydrocephaly, just like she described, there's water sitting on the brain or fluid, I'll say, fluid sitting on the brain, and it typically drains down through the spine. And then what happens is they have to when it does not drain as it should, it causes swelling to the brain and the skull. And so that's what causes the condition of hydrocephaly, and that is treated by inputting a shunt. So if you're familiar with the shunt, it's basically like a balloon where they'll, input this balloon inside of your spine, and that's what allows that fluid to start draining off of the brain so that it does not continue to impact the brain, and because that causes it could lead to a lot of different things. And I'm, again, not the professional, and I don't want y'all to like walk away from this thinking that I just know about hydrocephaly because I work in the lab and I had to read about it, but when I got Hand in Hand, it was my first time seeing it, like on the other side, and seeing kids walk around with it, because I always thought hydrocephaly meant that like they had these large skulls, and like I wasn't familiar with the shunt, and I also wasn't familiar with how many times they have to go in and replace that shunt.
And it's not the same for everyone. Like some people get their shunt and they're fine. And some people have to go every year. Some people have to go every couple months. But it's like, it's not really a balloon. It's just like a little, almost like a little straw with like a little lollipop at the top.
Okay.
But it's like a pocket. Like when they need to go in and stick a needle in and drain fluid out to see if anything's infected.
Okay.
So she has like right here, and it goes all the way down her neck and drains it. The tube is so long it goes all the way down to her stomach.
Oh wow. Okay. So I definitely didn't know that. I was just familiar with shunts as it relates, when people have heart attacks, and they have to put shunts in. That's what it is. It's like a balloon that opens the artery. So that's what I have to do. You learned something new? I definitely didn't know that. So, okay, so then what was it like? What was when you got the diagnosis, or did you get the cerebral palsy diagnosis at the time when did you get the diagnosis?
So when she was in at Brookwood, they were saying because of the fluid, there was a chance that, she would end up with it, And I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. So, like I said, she was behind. They ended up sending us to a rehab doctor, Dr. Law.
Yeah.
I miss him.
Me too.
Yeah. They sent us to Dr. Law, and he was like, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm more of a like go with the flow type of person. And everybody's always like, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Hell, I don't know how to process the emotions like this. I don't know. This is what it is.
Let's go. Yeah. I think that a lot of us as moms do the same thing, where it's like, I ain't got time to sit here and cry. I gotta get to the next thing. And like, but ultimately, like that's what hurts us in the long run, because we don't sit there and process the emotions. But that's another talk for another day. We're gonna keep it moving, just like you said. Because I was the same way. I did the same thing. He told me cerebral palsy. I said, ain't no way. And he had to actually but that's where he broke it down. Cerebral palsy is not a disease, it's just the result of, and so like the developmental delays that you're seeing and everything, this is just it falls under the umbrella of cerebral palsy. And then he was the one who introduced that idea to me that cerebral palsy was different for everybody. So yeah, I'm with you. That's the reason I was like, it ain't no way. Ain't no way. But
when they said I think we'll figure it out.
Yeah, so then tell me what's next. So then, with that being said, we know that cerebral palsy. So, like, what cerebral palsy looks like for us is that Harper, had the same. We had the same developmental delays, but what what can you say if you like with knowing Harper now, and then we know Taylor? What can you say is different, like for you guys that you see that we may be doing that y'all don't do, or you do stuff that we don't do?
Taylor is spoiled. Taylor is spoiled. Harper wants to do everything. Taylor wants everything done for her.
Oh yeah.
But like, I was working on her feeding herself, and then one day she was just like, and that's how she did. She looked at you, rolls her eyes, like, no, I'm not gonna do this shit for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes she'll say no, and then sometimes she's like, no, I don't feel like you're gonna kill me.
I love that you brought that up, because that is the misconception that people think when they see our children in wheelchairs, you automatically think, oh, they cannot, or you think that they're being lazy. Like, no, she can do. Let's be really clear.
Yes.
Absolutely, but she's choosing not to, and it's not because she knows that she has this diagnosis. She just knows that I got a mama that don't help me. Or
she knows she can get over it. If I always found being too hard on her. No, she knows exactly what she's doing. She can do everything that I'm trying to get her to do. She's not to.
That part about people saying that we being too hard on them, like that, I feel like that comes from a place of thinking that someone with a disability can't do. And like that's what I'm trying to change, that mentality or that misconception that because she has cerebral palsy, you're just being hard on her. And it's like, no, actually that's my job as her mom, is to get her, just like for any parent out there that's raising a child. You pushing your child to be the best that they could be. I'm pushing her to be the best that she could be. Yes, she may have some limitations, but if you don't know what those limitations are, don't look at me and say I'm being hard on her, because I know that she's resisting me. The same way that when your child is doing their homework and they really want to be outside, it's the same thing. It's just different.
It just looks different.
Yeah. So I really hate
Focus on the ability.
Focus on the ability. Oh, that's a shameless plug right there. Got it at the end, definitely. But that's what our shirts are all about. That's the message that we're sending. Like, these children are very able. They're able. Yes, they do have limitations that come from internal that they can't control, but they are very capable, and it's my job to continue to strengthen them in their area that they're the strongest, and make sure that they're living up to that capacity, and then help improve the weaknesses. Everybody got weaknesses, everybody got strengths. So I could go on for days. But anyway, let's move forward. So like, what does a typical day look like for you and for Taylor? So what's some of the like challenges that y'all face? What is like a daily routine like?
And people always ask me, is it hard? Is it hard? It's hard. No, this is always in my reality. Like, to me, to somebody else, like on the outside looking in, there's people that watch me and what we do every day or whatever. They're like, oh my goodness, I don't know. You don't know because you don't have to do it. If you had to do it, you would be able to do it. Like, we get up in the morning, and I have to do everything at the same time. I don't do anything.
Absolutely.
You have to get up, get her out the bed. She's just not starting to sit up on her own, so I don't have to bend over and break my back trying to pick her up every day. So she'll sit up. I'm working on getting her to stand, getting her stroller, roll to the bathroom. You know, she has to brush her teeth, wash her face, go back in her room, change her diaper, put her clothes on, feed her.
Yeah.
Everything that has to be done, like a normal kid, you say, hey, come on, get up, go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, put your clothes on. Everything that they do on their own, the boys get up and do it on their own, I do it.
Yeah.
Every little thing that needs to be done, I take it.
And that's the part that people don't understand. They say it's the same, it's hard regardless. No, it's not, sweetie. Because you could stand there and look at that child, brush their teeth. I got to brush her teeth. Like, we're doing the same thing, but I have to exert a little bit more effort into making sure that, like, you know, her needs are being met. She can help me, but it still has to be done for her, you know, to a certain extent, until we get to that place. Just like you said, she's starting to sit up now, so she's participating in helping me get ready for her. Same thing with Harper. Harper, I want her to stand up the whole time, because She can, number one. I mean, she could, stand and support as long as she holding on. But she decides that I don't want to stand up in the morning. But when I get to school, I'm gonna run in. And so it's just like it's much harder. I'm sweating. It ain't even 7 o'clock yet, and I'm already in sweat. Yeah. So I think that's a misconception that people have. It is hard, but then it's not hard for me because this is all I know. So I absolutely hate when people say that they look at me and that's pity. You giving me pity about I couldn't do that. Yes, you could if you had a child that needed you. You absolutely would. It is some crappy people out there that probably wouldn't. But and yes, I said crappy. I absolutely mean that you're crappy if you want. Whatever. I won't get into that. But yes, so like that, I think it's the same thing. I think we see it, like you said, like Taylor's starting to sit up, Harper can't sit up. She just chooses to she'll sit up and then be like, all right, I'm done. And she'll lean forward. So I have started letting her, this sounds harsh, but like fall off the table. I mean, she don't crash onto the floor. I catch her, but I see her looking like scared, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna let you hit the floor one day. Yeah, because like you need to. You need to. You know why? Let me tell you why you need to. Because you can stop yourself. We work on you falling so that you know how to use your hands. But the thing is, you don't have to use your. You don't even have to fall. You just keep sitting straight up.
She's like, no, I'm not gonna sit.
Yeah. So
sometimes she'll fall, but she's so smart. Like she'll fall backwards, and she'll like hold her head.
They fall off.
Yeah,
they fall. They fall off. And the thing is, I don't want y'all to think that we out here abusing. Okay? So please don't walk away from here and like, oh.
Well, that's no problem.
Exactly. Because when the kids on the playground and they fall, are you gonna go catch them before they scrape their knee? No, you're gonna let them fall. Now, I'm not gonna let her break no bones, catch no bruises. Like I said, I let her. What she tries to do is lean on me, and I just step back and let her feel. What it feels like when you falling and ain't nothing there. I make sure that she feels that, and I help her. As she gets to the floor, then when she gets to the floor, she look up and be like, I can't believe it. Absolutely. And then now you got to stand up because I'm not picking you up to put you back on the table. So it's the same thing. And it's just children being children at the end of the day. And that's what I really try to get people to see, that children with disabilities are children first. They the same type of children. Harper tried to tell on me to her daddy when I tell her she can't have something. So she started hollering. So Henry come in there, oh, what's wrong? And she hollering and pointing at me like I did something to her. It's the same way that when you tell your child no, they're going to go to the other parent and say, well, can I have this? It's the same thing. This is just what it looks like for us. So I am going to slow it down a little bit. Let's take a little step. Yeah. So now I want to kind of take a shift. I hope that y'all got an idea of what it's like working with these absolute divas, who can't tell us I'm not going to do that with their words. They just show us I'm not going to do that. I love that, like, we have that's a strong will in these kids, because as they get older, they will start to do stuff for themselves. Any child with a disability strives for independence just like any other child. It's just that, with the kids with disabilities, they've learned that, I got this amount of help, so it's just like, just give it to me then, whereas like for Harper, once you make it hard, she like, I ain't doing that. No, I did it, and now you made it harder, so you do it. I'm not doing it. So now I kind of want to shift into some of the misconceptions. So this is where what Brittany said, we're going to shake the table. We're going to really talk about some of the hard topics in our community, and not just our community, but in society in general, especially in the South, where you have these bless your heart type people that look at us and take pity. And so even for the people with good intentions, they also need this level of education to know that you're still giving me pity, even with your good intentions. So let's kind of start talking a little bit about stigmas as it relates to cerebral palsy and in our community. So I have a whole dissertation on where this stems from, but from your perspective, where do you think the stigmas about cerebral palsy and the disabilities that kind of come with it, the global developmental delays, where do you think it stems from? You can say it. You can say it just like you thinking it. I see
Shaking
it.
the table.
Just go on and say it. And if they are offended, put it in the comments. If you're offended by that, or if you say, "Oh my God, I know I did that," let us know, y'all. Like, we want this to be interactive. But I don't want you to feel like you can't say, because that, as moms of children with disabilities, we often hold in our feelings when we know that people are like saying something wrong. So this is our platform, and we gonna let y'all know.
I think people think like, okay, you saying it. Cerebral palsy is because what they see on the TV. Everybody's trying to get kids like, I love hand so much.
Yes, Lord.
I love hand so much. I cried when we had to leave. I wish we could go back. But when they post things for donations or whatever the case may be, it's always the worst cases. It's not, oh, I have cerebral palsy, but I only have to walk with like a little crutch.
They call them they don't call them crutches anymore.
It's not a crutch. But you have people with cerebral palsy, they walk with those perfectly fine. They talk, they go about their normal everyday activities.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have, Harper.
Mm-hmm.
Harper can walk on Harper wants to walk. Harper sits in a wheelchair. Can Harper walk on a wheelchair?
A little bit. Not to the extent that, like, if she needs to get to another room, but she can move it.
Take a little try. Take a little try. Like, it's just people presented.
If y'all hear our kids,
They can't hear him, but you could tell them.
yeah, like if y'all hear screaming, they are actually having a great time. Okay, like don't think there's nothing going on. They are downstairs. The basement has been turned into a playhouse, so. But yeah, I am 1,000% with you. Like, and not even like hand in hand. I think for me and what I thought it, I feel like they did like they showed Taylor, they showed Harper, but they were babies, But like, I know that people with cerebral palsy are not just in the day programs. There are people with cerebral palsy that's like I work in the lab. And actually, she commented on one of my posts, like, "Oh my God, I love what you're doing with bringing awareness to cerebral palsy. I have cerebral palsy." And that blew me away. Like, what? I had no idea. I knew she walked differently, but I didn't think that, I don't know. I didn't go beyond that. I just said maybe she was in a car accident, or, like I just moved on. I never noticed, I never took the time to like try to piece it together. I have a friend that tells me I have patients that have cerebral palsy. They are married with children. Like they are
classmates.
They
never thought about it. I just knew, she's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Never thought it through. She was at school. She was in her wheelchair at school. She went to, regular classes. We graduated. Like,
because their brains work. Taylor is nonverbal. Harper is nonverbal. And that's another thing I'll tell y'all about. We don't call them nonverbal. We said they don't communicate verbally. I don't know what's the difference, but that's what they say in the community. So I'm gonna go with it.
Yeah, I just said she don't stop it.
Yeah, so I think she don't use words, but she can communicate. Like they can communicate. And so it works. Like they can work if you can get out of what your norm is and know that there are different ways that the same thing can be accomplished. So I may not be able to use words to tell you that I don't want to do something, but I can shake my head and or I could, protest and you'll know. So I just feel like that is what I really like about like having this platform, about being like bringing awareness because people really like out here putting us in a box or putting them in a box. So,
Based on that.
what are some, let's move to damaging stereotypes that you've encountered in children with disabilities. So, like, what are some things that people think about Taylor or Harper or any child? Like, I can think of some cuties that was in our class too that they stereotype them because they have disabilities. Have you encountered that on your journey?
Everyone stereotypes her when they see her. She's so smart.
Oh, absolutely.
She's so smart. And she knows that when people see her, when they meet her, I'm not gonna say she knows that they beat her, but she knows that
They look at
daddy will do whatever for her just because,
Yeah.
Yeah. Taylor is capable. She is able. It's not gonna look the same way it looks when everybody else does it, but Taylor is able to do these things.
Yeah.
And she, baby,
Yeah.
will take them on her way.
It's a wheelchair. They see a wheelchair and they automatically think, you know, and I hate to say it like this, dumb, cripple,
This is what her not talking.
Yeah.
And then she don't
special needs.
Yeah.
Like, it just, they definitely do that. I've seen people with cerebral palsy who can't communicate verbally, but they use the eye gaze technology on their AACs. And I've even seen here recently where people with cerebral palsy who are in wheelchairs and they have that spasticity and like super muscle issues, but they're still you just have to take the patience to try to figure out or understand what they're saying. If you just wait and let them get it all out, you understand what they're saying perfectly. You know, I hate stereotypes, but I encountered the exact same thing with Harper. They see a wheelchair. They see a wheelchair, they don't see a kid, you know, until she starts, oh, she's so cute, girl. That's what I be thinking in my head because you're not saying she's cute, you're saying, oh.
And it really kind of irritates me, like when we're out somewhere and people want to come up and,
Girl, go away.
So would you be doing that if she wasn't?
Yeah. Did you do that to my other children?
You did not. You didn't acknowledge them at all.
Exactly. So yeah, the stereotypes are real, and I just really, I don't know. I just feel like the only way that we could really start breaking them down is to have like these real raw conversations about, yeah, that's stupid when you do that. When you walk up to me and be like, oh, hey, how you doing?
And especially if I don't know you. Like I went somewhere, my mom and my grandmother, and we were out shopping. So I left Taylor with my papa because he has a shop. And I look over and it's a lady just sitting there talking to my face. And I'm like, looking at my mom because what's going on?
Yeah.
It's
because
they work with children like Taylor. And you could just tell she's so well taken care of. Okay.
Oh, I definitely have seen that a lot.
And the people they don't deal with it every day, like it doesn't happen to them a lot.
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, that was just
it's so nice.
Yeah.
Oh, child. Okay. Moving on because we're gonna put the clock on. So let's kind of move into talking about it from a cultural stand. So like I really want to get into Black culture. I'm all about Black culture. I am Black culture. I'm gonna die Black culture. So there's a lot about our culture where we still have a long way to go as it relates to disabilities in general. I know we're trying, but it's still just a small population of us, you know, and there's a bigger population of people who don't have disabilities. Not unfortunately, I'm very glad that people don't have to, you know, do some of the things that we do. But disability is a part of life. Don't forget it. Don't forget that you can join the disability community at any point. In Black culture, church is huge. And so this is where I'm gonna offend a lot of my people who love me, who pray for me, and Harper and da. Okay, I'm not trying to offend you. What I hope that we can do when we talk about some things we're about to talk about is that you learn. and you see the error in what you're doing and how you're making me feel, because that's what it's about. I'm not talking about your intention. I appreciate your intention, but at the end of the day, this is what I walked away from it. So, let's start on the high note. How has faith shaped your journey? How has faith been a part of, like you navigating your experience and your journey? Say it like it is.
Well, everybody was like, just pray, just pray, just pray. I prayed in the beginning, and here we are now. So I stopped praying. Like, I listen, it's cute, whatever, but I prayed in the beginning that she be not, I don't say normal.
Mm-hmm.
I prayed in the beginning that she wasn't disabled. She was going to be okay. She was going to come out of everything. And she was going to be, like her brothers.
Yeah.
And she's not like her brothers. So
that's it.
That's
the part right there
from me. So,
and that's the part that nobody says. And then when you do bring that back, they shun you for saying you shouldn't have stopped.
Like that, exactly. You still just have to. It's a reason. Okay, it probably is a reason.
Ooh.
But I prayed in the beginning, and it did nothing for me. So,
I think that the easiest way to say it, I'm mad at God. Everybody knows that I was not praying. I was like, why is this happening? Mm-hmm. What is this? Where did it come from? Left field. I have done all the things. I grew up in church. I went to church. I committed to the faith the way I was taught. Now, the faith that I was taught is not matching the actions you're telling me to take for what I need to see happen in my child. Y'all, that is the part that y'all don't like to hear, but that is our reality, is that you look at our children, you tell us to pray, and we pray, and we don't get that result that you're telling us to pray for. And so because you're not familiar with what's next, you say keep praying. Yep. That is the worst thing that I feel like anybody could do. Thankfully, I will say this. Shameless plug to my pastor and to my daddy who navigated this walk with us, where they also said the same thing. I'm bad too. I had luckily, because like you said, everybody doesn't have that, and everybody doesn't have the relationship that I had, but they met me where I was and said, it's okay that you feel what you feel. And my pastor also did not say to me, there is a reason for this, because that is the worst thing that you can say to a mom of a child with a disability. That is the worst thing, because what that registers to us as is you deserve this. That's what you're saying. Mm-hmm. When you say that to us, that's what you're saying. You deserve this, but other moms don't deserve it. Imagine what can you imagine somebody saying that to you? Like, no, it's not. But what I can say, and I won't say that it took me years, Brittany can say, Henry is on the journey with me. It took me a long time to accept where I am, what Harper's diagnosis and what her life is going to look like. And once I accepted, it's just a different walk. That's where I saw that faith could meet me and, like what we were about to do. It wasn't to keep praying and she gonna be healed, because how you heal cerebral palsy?
And then there's still like a poor outcome where like they'll still try and come up and pray.
Ooh, child, get your hands off my chest.
What?
Don't you dare. Oh yes. Don't you dare. I had a lady that walked up to me at the gym crying. Her condition is, but I just pray for her. I was like, we don't need it. We don't. Everybody is so, girl. I spend the rest of these 16 minutes on this topic, but I won't.
Oh,
but I'm going to do this one day. But I do think that people need to hear that, because that's what y'all say to us. even though your intentions are good, but where you fall short is the fact that you're unfamiliar with this journey, and you're unfamiliar with what faith looks like on this journey. What faith truly looks like on this journey for me is that she's still a healthy child. At the end of the day, she's still healthy. Yes, she has to use a wheelchair. Yes, she has to walk with assistance. But what my prayer for my child is that she leads a happy, healthy life, just like anybody else. But instead, you see a disability, and you tell me that I need to keep praying for her healing. You can't heal cerebral palsy. Please know that. There is no cure for cerebral palsy, and it ain't gonna be one because it's a traumatic brain injury. Something happened to the brain, just like if I don't know, you was
getting a car accident.
Exactly. You're not there are some things that can't be undone. And the brain is one of the things that when something happens to it, it can't be undone. But we can do with everything that we know about the brain is work to get it back to a functional capacity.
And one thing that irritates me.
Yes,
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
When they're so surprised that she's not worse off. Like, no, she doesn't take any medication. No, she does not have a feeding tube. No, you don't have to chop her food up for her to eat it. Like, why do y'all want everyone with a disability to just be so damn bad? Like,
because that's what they know. If we go back to talking about where it stems from, ultimately people have no exposure to this because, again, like I said, there's a bigger population of people who are not impacted by disabilities. Let me rephrase that. There's a bigger population of people who are not impacted by disabilities out loud. They don't like to share that internally we have this issue. Let's continue to pretend like, and let's continue to force this person who's struggling with limitations to fit the mold of what I think.
And I did that in the beginning.
Oh, absolutely.
In the beginning, I would not post pictures or anything that made her look like she was disabled. Anything that I posted or anything that I said, she was a non-disabled child. Like,
I posted pictures of Harper smiling. That was it. That's all you got. That is because I knew what I was dealing with. But what happens is that fear. That's nothing more than the fear of what people are looking at and what, like you said,
what they'll have to say.
And it takes a lot to like move beyond that. So, oh man, I wish we had more time. We probably come back to this, but like that is definitely like what I learned. That's what that was. Until I broke out and was like, listen, ain't nothing wrong with my child. Tell her nothing is wrong with her, and you won't tell her nothing is wrong with her. You won't, because ain't nothing wrong with her.
Right.
Does she have to take a little bit more time to accomplish the same task? Yes, but that don't mean something's wrong. She's just taking more time. You don't get
one of that different than everyone else.
Exactly. Girl. Anyway, I'm trying not to go out on a tangent on y'all. But so then talking about how, the people communicate with us and there's so much pity, because that's pity. Whenever you walk up to someone and that's pity. Talk about what you feel like when you're told that you're strong or inspiring or simply being a parent to a child with cerebral palsy.
And people are always like, oh, you're just such a good mother. I'm just like, because am I a good mother because I am a good mother, or am I a good mother because Taylor is disabled and I take care of her like I'm supposed to? I appreciate it, but still,
I don't appreciate it.
You can keep it.
You keep it. I know so many moms. You can almost ask any mom that has a child, whether they are physically disabled, whether they have a physical, like what do you call it, like a cosmetic, different, like something like they look like what the people would say. They look like, you can tell they got a disability, I know so many moms that say, I absolutely hate hearing, "You're so strong, you're so inspiring." I hated it in the beginning, and I love it now because I'm not the best in my eight.
Yeah, you are.
Okay? Let me be inspiring because of the work that I'm doing, but not because I'm hard home. Because I can be the same. I'll pop you. I will pop you, girl. You know, I am. And if you think that moms who pop their children ain't good moms, I ain't a good mom. But you're
because she don't get it just like a brother.
You telling me that I'm strong because we take the time to learn their disabilities and we learn their personalities and we learn their capabilities. I feel like where I try to have grace on people is that you're not taking the time to do that in the first 5 seconds that you see her, but there are so many people out there who do. So now my tolerance for people who don't has shortened, has lessened because now I know there's other people in the world that are capable of being good humans and seeing her for her as a person, as a child, and not for her disability. That is the strongly inspiring is something that is so insulting to parents, any parent of a child with a disability.
So I want y'all, what do you think that they could be thinking when they say it?
When
Like they think that they're being positive, and what's that gap?
So our producer introduced another, and again, because I'm in this space where I'm trying to learn how to communicate with people, I would want to take this time to put on display from another mom so people don't know that I'm not just out here being mad. But like, this is what it feels like. This is what you hear. But from a mom of a child who don't have disability, who may have even made that comment before, what do you think that they're thinking or that they're attempting to say when they make that comment? You want to go first?
It'll probably be like, instead of saying, "Oh yeah, I just couldn't do that. I don't see me doing that." They're like, "Oh, you see?"
That's exactly what my answer was.
And that's horrible.
Yeah, that's it couldn't be me. That's what they're saying when they say that. Because a lot of people would say, "You're so strong, you're so inspiring. I don't know if I could do that." That's the nice way to say it. It couldn't be me. That's why that comment hurts. That's why I don't care for your, dressed up admiration. That's not admiration. What you're saying is that better you than me. You deserve it. I don't. That's what you communicate when you use those words. If you want to compliment me because Taylor looks like she's progressing. Wow. Like, get to know Taylor. What is it like? There are different ways that you can compliment me and make me feel seen than telling me that I'm strong and inspired. So,
yeah, I said something there.
Yeah, that is the absolute truth, and that's ultimately like what I guarantee you. If I have any mom friends that's watching this or that will watch this later on, y'all drop it in the comments. Don't want to say it. Y'all jobs ain't gonna see it, and we'll protect it. But go on and let the people know that we don't like to hear that. We don't. I'm not strong. I'm not inspiring. A lot of times, I am fighting for my life. You know what I'm saying? Yes. The bad days that we have are way more intense than what I hate to compare, but they are way more intense than what you may have with your child who's just acting out. I appreciate that it's hard for you, and I don't take away your experience and your motherhood, but don't diminish mine either. That's the message that I would send for those people that make those comments. Please stop saying that. All right.
One last question.
Yes.
No, I'm saying for here.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna start wrapping this up with talking about misconceptions and social settings. So again, still talking about the stigma, still really getting into where people think that they're saying things that are nice. What has your experience been like when people see Taylor and you see them actively avoiding interacting with her? Like, do you assume that, or do you think that when they do that, well, I know you probably think that, but they think that Taylor can't tell that they doing that? They avoiding her?
I actually haven't experienced people avoiding Taylor. They see her and they're drawn to her. I would rather y'all not than come up with the fakeness and
For me, I experience that all the time. On the playground because Harper is like Harper is she tries a lot more. She wants to keep up with her peers. So when we go on the playground, you get the kid who runs up and they just stare. Like, what's wrong with this kid? Like this kid, while she's walking, like we went to the playground and we saw 3 little girls, and Harper looked at me and said, I want to go over there with them because you could see the 3 little girls, but they got up there and they stopped and they just kind of stared at Harper. And they just stared and she looked at them and they looked at her. And it was like an unspoken, you gonna come up here with us, girl? It was that moment that kids have all the time. So Harper wanted to go. You know, of course, I told Harper, I said, if you want to go, you got to go. I am doing the work. You got to get up. So then we got attitude, so those girls eventually ran off. But there were multiple parents on this playground that actively told the child who was staring at us, come on, don't look at her, don't say nothing to her. I have learned that that's not intentional, but what I also know is that that is a behavior that you're creating in your child that they're going to take later in life. And that's why we have the interactions and the stigmas and the low engagement that we have with people with disabilities. It's the parents, it's the adults who are the problem.
And see, that's another difference.
Really?
Yeah. Taylor don't want to do nothing but sit right here in front of the bubble. She wants to lay out on the ground and roll around and do her own thing. She doesn't care.
Harper's, I can't tell yet. I haven't figured out what Harper thinks because I be too wrapped up in my own thoughts. Like, you in, like, but her parent. But I have started. So like when I'm present in those moments, I try to engage with the child and I say, hello, this is Harper. What's your name? And they freeze up like, oh, you can see me looking, the kids have issues. I want them to do that, honestly. I invite that curiosity because if it is embraced and it is and you like teach them in that moment, it's gonna change that kid's whole perspective. But
and it's really a different environment going from hand in hand where everyone is included to other schools where she's in the self-contained classroom. These kids aren't used to seeing, like I had a friend, her niece asked, why she moving? Of course I'm like, don't say it, why don't you say that? But it doesn't bother me. Because she really doesn't know.
Exactly. You need to answer.
She can't dance like you, she doesn't. This is just how she has to be.
One parent, just one, in all of our 6 years, where her daughter said, Mom, why is she in a wheelchair? Even though we were standing right there, she said, why is she in a wheelchair? And her mom said, well, those are her legs, just like you have legs that you walk on. She uses her wheelchair to get around. And I looked at her and said, thank you so much for that. I said, that you don't know how much that means to me. Because most parents say, don't ask that, and they take that child and they walk away and they hide and don't look at her, don't do things. And also Harper was also present during that. And Harper can hear and she understands, and so when that mom shared that with that child, she said, oh, and she said, so say hello to her. Do you want to talk to her? You could tell. That's why I say, like, that gives me the optimism that I need to continue to go on and encounter the people who are like my goal for myself is to get to one day where I can address those parents who tell their children to come on.
And I don't even feel like they're being rude. They just don't.
They don't have the tools. They're not equipped.
Understand. They don't know. So, because before I had Taylor, I just, go the other way.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't. They don't know. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to go about it. They don't know how to approach the situation.
And they're the parent in that, and so they don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't know. So they're teaching their children to ignore it.
Exactly.
It's something they don't do. Don't be rude. They just don't be rude about it. Don't be rude, but they're not. It takes them to try and learn and understand because they don't have to do it.
Exactly.
They'll probably see Taylor today and won't ever see anybody else.
Exactly. And that's why we are here to bring this awareness, to make sure that we are really breaking down these misconceptions that people have that children who have disabilities are not able, because they are very much so.
Mm-hmm.
I deal with that attitude every day. Okay, it's the same attitude, probably worse than some of y'all will make. Okay? So I want y'all to take away what we talked about today. I hope that we didn't stab you too bad. I hope that you heard something today that changed your perception about disabilities, about what our walk of life feels like, what it looks like. I hope that whatever you were offended by, if you are a mother of a child with a disability, I hope that it changes how you interact with the next person that you will see. And I also hope that you will go on our website, thewildfloweralliance.com, and get a shirt. So yes, so we have launched officially our merch brand, Aware, A-Wear, A-W-E-A-R. And what the goal of our merchandise is to bring awareness, to spread awareness, and to be conversation starters. We're gonna be bringing some more stuff in the coming months. But we launched with this first design of focus on the ability, because remember that people with disabilities are very capable in a lot of different aspects. And if you help to focus them on their strengths, you can appreciate them more. And then when you learn their weaknesses, I guarantee you're going to try to help make up for it, because you're going to be a good human that wants to do that. So again, A-Wear shirts are available on our website, thewildfloweralliance.com. There are some other shirts there. We have some branded Wildflower Alliance shirts that'll be available. And we also have the Nothing About Us Without Us slogan. So if you're not familiar with that, don't try to make decisions for us that you don't know nothing about. Invite us to the table. That's all I'm trying to do is, again, with spreading awareness. So I appreciate y'all for joining today. I know that we went over a little bit, and thank you for working with us through some of the technical difficulties we had in the beginning. And I hope that you will be joining us again in April when we start talking about autism and bringing some awareness to autism during Autism Awareness Month.
And we should do a part 2 of this.
Yeah, because it was good.
How about the bad, the ugly day? We make it look good. We do a great job.
Yeah.
Yes.
But everybody ain't.
Hey, I'm all for a part 2. You let me know when, and we make it happen. So definitely, I think a part 2 is definitely necessary. And that's why I said I think this is going to be so good, because we have 2 moms of children with cerebral palsy with 2 different walks. A lot of similarities, but still completely different. Just like you said, you don't encounter people who avoid. I see it all the time, and so like even what we didn't get to talk about was education.
Oh yeah, so that's the whole other topic. That's the whole
Because baby,
right there. Because
Holly Jones, y'all
need
need a Holly Jones, okay? A lot of people need a Holly Jones and a Grady. That's what we call her name's Grady. Sorry, the kids call her Grady. But he ain't saying me right now, so I'm going ahead and let y'all go. Thank y'all for being here, and we'll be back next time. Thank you.